So today, I'm going to be discussing about Breath of the Wild 2 and what we really want for the game. But today, I'm joined with a very special guest. It's his first time doing a More You Know. And it's Fantasma. Welcome, Fantasma.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be on More You Know for the first time.
Yeah,
I feel like
exactly.
the topic in question is very up my street, and I'm very excited to show off my nerdiness. Although I do feel like the Zelda community, do come at you with pitchforks if you make any mistakes. So we've got to be careful about that.
Yeah, mate, we have the research. I mean, it's good that we're starting on this game because there hasn't been a lot said about this game, so we can't get a lot wrong.
That's true. We can just make it up and say it's a rumour, and no one can argue with us.
Exactly. So, Fantasma, as our Nintendo fanboy of the channel, what do you think about Breath of the Wild 2? What do you really want from the game?
Oh, I mean, it's a hard one, really. I mean, Breath of the Wild in the original version.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, first of all, let's address the elephant in the room. Breath of the Wild 2.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we both know that is not that's kind of I put it in air commas, the working title.
Yeah.
That's not what it's going to be called, or we're not sure what it's going to be called. But the likelihood with Nintendo's track record is that they'll probably go off-piste and probably not just make it a prequel and call it Breath of the Wild 2, although don't hold it against me. But I see them going for a title change.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. They don't really do a lot of sequel. I mean, they haven't done a sequel, have they? Have they done a sequel? They haven't, have they? Properly, like they haven't made like a Twilight Princess 2 or whatever. This would be the only one. So I don't think they'll do that. But it'll be interesting to see what this. I feel like, by just watching the trailer, like you said, you've done it multiple times. I think this is gonna be. I want to say it's gonna start as like an epilogue, and then there's gonna be like time difference, like a time jump. I'm not sure how long, but I think there's gonna be a time jump. What do you think?
There's definitely something to say about the use of time in Breath of the Wild 2. I think that's a big, from what I've picked up from looking at it, just from the trailer, you see they've got the reversed water droplet. And things like that, and also the massive 10,000 year hero Legend of Zelda gap that's kind of in it, where he was sleeping for 10,000 years. And I think there's definitely going to be a big play on time in Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. I know it's something. I mean, they kind of played with time in Majora's Mask back in the day, and I think that was a really interesting concept. So to bring that back around, obviously we don't know the mechanics of it or how it's actually going to work, but that'll be quite interesting. And then you've got, obviously, in the trailer, stasis or some form of reversal stasis or time stasis or something like that, so somehow tying into those original abilities from the original game. It should be. I'm very excited about it, and obviously, like you said, the trailer, you've got the floating cities, the floating islands, which is kind of a kickback to Skyward Sword.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because obviously they did the remaster of Skyward Sword. Do you think that was for like fans that haven't played the original to be like, here's a little taste, so you know what Skyward Sword's about?
Potentially, yeah, potentially. I mean, I briefly played. It was probably one of the Zelda games that I've played the least over the last kind of decade of Skyward Sword. But I enjoyed the aerial. Yeah. And obviously they had the paraglider in the original one. It was the logical next step to kind of take. I mean, and this is one of my biggest theories that I'm going to throw out there today. Is, the first Breath of the Wild was very land based.
It was.
We had the oceans. There was a lot of water. You had obviously Zora's Domain, which is a key thing for a lot of the Zeldas, but there's not a lot of playable underwater or in the sky kind of areas. So there's no platforms, like hovering platforms like you see in the trailer. And there was no typical like water temple or underwater Zora's Domain like you saw in Ocarina of Time or something like that. So I think they're gonna, if they keep the map as is, which it looks potentially like it's a similar, if not a variation of the current Breath of the Wild map, I think we'll see a lot of expansion and development into the sky area and into potentially underwater with maybe an upgraded Zora's armor or something like that, allowing people to have breath holding abilities like the tunic in Ocarina of Time. But that's potential. I mean, it depends if they keep the map. I mean, it's what's your thoughts?
I think they will. I think the map will be very similar, but I think they'll add more stuff to it. I think Link was he floating, or like he was paragliding from like really high up. I think that is an indication that there will be a lot of like sky cities, and I think I would like to see more environments. Because one of my favourite games was Twilight Princess, and I did like all the environment changes in that game, and we didn't see that much in Breath of the Wild. Like they made the open world very detailed. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't a big change in terms of like what we saw. And in terms of like, I feel like this sequel game is going to be a much darker tone. I feel very dark.
Definitely. Yeah, from all sources. I mean, there's very little information, but I think just from the general feel of it, Zelda falling off at the start of the latest trailer and stuff like that, I think it's definitely going to be a slightly sinister take on what we know Zelda as. No, I'm very, very excited for it. I mean, the one thing that we can't leave out is obviously the potential of petting dogs, which they didn't have in Breath of the Wild. I'm a massive fan of being able to pet dogs in gameplay. I'm not sure about you, Dill.
Oh, of course. No, he doesn't want to pet a dog, you know. That's like the best thing.
So, I mean, big rumours out here, fingers crossed. Breath of the Wild 2, you'll be able to pet dogs. That's all I want from it.
I do hope that they fix the weapon breaking system, because I did think that was a bit tedious. Like if you had like a semi-average sword and you were going against a tough opponent, it would just break straight away. And I thought that was a bit annoying to have. So I do think that they should fix that. Is there anything else that you want to fix for the second game?
I mean, it's a bit of a controversial one. I found the stamina to be I don't know. I mean, I got to grips with it in the end. From Breath of the Wild, once you kind of level up and increase it, it's not the end of the world, and I understand the reasoning and concept behind it, because it limits certain progression in games and so on. Climbing up cliff faces, swimming out too far. But I mean, I would like to see it updated or changed. In what way, I don't know. But I think a kind of maybe a go back to kind of old school Zelda, where you don't have weapon durability, you don't necessarily have stamina, is a potential. I don't know.
I did like the stamina. I like the stamina and the temperature, because I thought it brought in more. It's more of a upgrade to the RPG style that Zelda normally goes for. But I think now that there's gonna be more paragliding, so I think like transport is going to be faster and quicker anyway. So I don't think it'll be too much of a problem.
If I mean, especially with, like you said, with the floating islands and the paraglider now being even more key than it was in the original game. I think stamina is going to be maybe even more critical if they do keep it in, because otherwise you're just going to end up plummeting out the sky. We've all been there. But I mean, key thing, like I said, going back to original Ocarina of Time is something that I think is going to be a part of this. I think, obviously, in the original Breath of the Wild, they absolutely smashed the open world. There's so many aspects that they absolutely destroyed. But one of the things that I would have liked to have seen was variety in boss fights. So you obviously had Water Blight, Fire Blight, Ganon, Ganon at the end in Hyrule Castle, so on. I think it was very, there were similar variations, and I understand that was the reason and the storyline behind it. But I think what made Zelda, or what makes Zelda, is the kind of standout boss fights at the end. And they're all unique. They've all got a certain way that you have to deal with them, and I'd like to see that. And maybe kind of in line with that is the dungeon updates. Obviously, you had shrines, which were kind of, and then you had obviously the divine beasts. But maybe again a step back to traditional Zelda, where you've got kind of temples or kind of areas, and they in themselves are leading up to a boss in some sense. I don't know, it'll be interesting to see. As you can tell, I'm a very old school Zelda fan.
You are, I feel like you just want Ocarina of Time.
Is it too much to ask for, just a remake of Ocarina of Time?
We're not having that, no. I think I trust them. I think they're going to do a really good job with it. I think that by what we've seen, and we could be wrong, but it's going to be a very darker tone to the game. I really like Twilight Princess, one of my favourite ones, so I'm hoping it is a bit darker.
Definitely. And I have full faith in the team at Nintendo. They've had, 5 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. 5 years since the last game came out to kind of develop this, and all signs point to this being a knocking out the park kind of game. Better than Ocarina of Time, better than the original Breath of the Wild. This is going to be the Zelda that children of this generation talk about. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited, man.
It's not a game, it's a rage thing.